Guys, thanks for turning up for this special evening with an old friend of mine, Brendon Tuuta. We asked Dean about putting something together. We're both passionate about homeless for different reasons. Brendon's is due to some earthquakes in New Zealand where there's a lot of people left homeless. It also did his business a lot of good because he's a painting, decorating and plasterer as well. Brendon, we've all got different opinions about different rugby league players, and I want you to decide whether Brendon's a man or a beast, basically.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm going to go right back to his Maori ancestry. I want to ask Brendon which tribe he played for. I mean, which tribe were related to back in the day?
Well, thanks anyway, Dave. But firstly, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here tonight. I'm privileged and I'm pretty humble for people that's tuned up tonight, so thank you. But anyway, I come from a tribe called Ngāti Mutunga. They a tribe that originated in obviously New Zealand and Taranaki, and we shifted down to an island probably about 150 years ago called the Chatham Islands, and that's where I was born. There's probably 350 people that live there at present. Dad's one, my brothers and sister and others, they decided not to come to the mainland, and they stayed on the island, so that's where I'm from, Ngāti Mutunga.
What happened is, in my research, and we were talking to Steve, is that your tribe, it's only 150 years ago by the way, is it?
Yeah, 150, Dave, yeah.
150 years ago. His tribe rowed across on a boat to Chatham Islands, exhausted, dehydrated. The Chatham Islanders, who were a peaceful nation, took them in, fed them and watered them. 2 days later they butchered them all and ate them. That's a true story, you can Google that. Brendon's great-great-granddad, I think we're 1853 on my research is right, Brendon's great-great-granddad is probably responsible for eating a lot of locals and probably had a bite of Captain Cook as well. And the reason Captain Cook came into it, Steve said, well, Whitby's a lovely place, he must have seen a statue when he was there, Captain and so history tribe is that, and so we can see where competitive element might come from. They said the thing off of Google, it said the tretters like sheep, they're just there as up netters, so there you go. So what you got to say to that Brendon?
Captain Cook wasn't very tasty. Yeah, well, back in those days where I was brought up anyway, but it's an old English rule actually, who conquered you owned. So that's where we got it off, so yeah. I put it back on you, Dave.
Yeah, it is culture. I mean, at that time we were developing crossbreeding roses and trying to develop steam engines, and they were still eating people.
We haven't stopped.
Yeah, half the time we used to get an orange, they got a finger in the thumb. So anyway, moving on from that. Could you just tell us what got you interested in rugby league? Because there wouldn't have been a big culture of rugby league on Chatham's, was there?
No, there was none at the time. Well, basically, we shifted to the mainland into New Zealand because my brother decided he wanted to burn down our family home, so he did. So we all had to get out, and we shifted to New Zealand. And my dad started coaching one of the junior sides in a club called Hornby where we actually settled for a wee while, and that was probably about when I was about 10, 12, 13, something like that, and just progressed from there, Dave.
Just progress from there. At that time, did you ever envisage, did you dream of playing for your country like you ended up doing, or did you just play because your buddies play and your dad coached? Or?
Pretty much. I never envisaged playing for the Kiwis or anything. I just played because I loved it.
What would be your nearest professional club at that time?
Well, I got picked up by a Sydney club. They actually come over to look at a different player, not me, but I was playing in that game, and the player that they were looking at actually didn't play that day, and so I was pretty fortunate to be picked up by them because they come over to look at someone else. So
your dad hadn't put him in the stew, had he?
well, Dad said he was going to eat him, he's going to pick me.
You played for West. What good players were West at that time?
Well, I was very lucky. Ellery Hanley was there. He was actually with Balmain. He came to West the next season. Gary Schofield, he turned up there. Calvin Skerritt was there as well. The Englishman, the whole three of them. And but one time with Ellery, what I noticed with him that he never used to drive cars. He used to come to training in the helicopter.
Yeah, he probably pinched that. I could tell you some stories about that, but I'll leave that one for today. You got selected for New Zealand. What's it like to be selected for your country?
Oh, it was pretty special. Well, it's special for everyone, I suppose, but pretty special for me because we were actually playing in Sydney at the time, and we had to go back to New Zealand for a trial. And we done the trial, and my head coach, who was at West at the time, he come over because he was scouting out for a few more players. And I ended up getting named in the Kiwi side, and me and him got on the piss that night, and I didn't make training the next day, so and I think he dropped me.
There's a bit of the theme going on here too. And I'm not going to ask you to do haka, but you do haka in front of Wally Lewis, who's a legend in Australia, he's a legend in Rugby League, he always will be, probably one of the greatest, and in some people's opinion the greatest player that's ever played game. And you're lining up against this guy, and you're doing haka, looking in the eye. Well, what were you thinking? I know it's a bit meaty, a bit meaty, it looks a bit tasty, but what were you thinking?
Oh, we all know the story with Wally and that, but you know, he's obviously one of the better and one of the best players that's put on the kangaroo jersey and stuff like that. But I've got a lot of respect for the guy, but I just thought he was an arsehole.
Is that why you sawed his head off?
He had to guard me too much. So.
Yeah, pretty tough bloke. People don't realise that about me. I've been a lot of stories. He's a tough fellow as well. But eventually, what happened during that game? You got a victory.
Over him, I might have, but we lost. I think we went down 26-6 or something. Yeah, so we unfortunately all the times I played for the Kiwis, we never ever got a victory over the Kangaroos. We got a couple of victories over Great Britain, which was good.
I thought it was shit myself, but that's the story.
Yeah, so that's probably one disappointment I've got really, when I never had a victory over the Kangaroos.
Yeah, but you had a personal victory, and I know it, and if you could explain to people here, you get, I'll talk about Peter Fox, you know, enrolment at Featherstone in a wee minute, but what happened is you got this nickname, which has stuck with you, and the babyface assassin. I always thought you were pretty ugly, taunting yourself, but, you know, but you can't have everything. Can you explain how that impacted on your life as at West and in Australia? And who gave you your name anyway?
Well, the person that gave me the name was one media fella in Aussie, which was a fucking arsehole. But it might have stuck with me. But after that happened, that type of stuff, I really got penalised out of the game in Australia for a good whole season. That's why I ended up over in here where I am at the moment in Featherstone. Bradford come in for me and Featherstone come in for me, and I was only supposed to play 12 games here, so and then I was going to go home, so I still had 2 more years to run on my contract. But back in Aussie, I just got penalised out of the game, and I wasn't enjoying it, you know. So, and I love the football over here. It's more my style.
Peter Fox came and signed you. He was doing exactly the same as your New Zealand coach. Actually, he said the other day to us, didn't he? They were looking at somebody else.
Yeah.
And this young maniac turned up on video, so we signed him. And obviously it benefited Featherstone, and in a lot of people's opinion, your best overseas signing Featherstone's ever made. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm pretty humble with that. You know, you've had some really awesome players at Featherstone. I was just lucky to play with a few of them, you know. Obviously, we never got to Wembley. We had a semi-final against Leeds and Allen Road, I remember that. But, you know, I'm really humble with Featherstone and what they actually did for me, because signing me for, you know, I was there for 12 weeks and next thing I knew that I was there for 3 years, and so I'm very grateful and very humble for that. So we just worked really well together, I suppose. So it was cool.
Yeah. I can always remember watching your first game. I thought, this kid has a gun. Everybody just thinks of you as this assassin. But I didn't see that. I saw a bit of flair and a bit of other things. And where did you pick your skills? Did you pick it up on streets, or did you pick it up gradually?
I don't know. I used to do a bit of boxing back in the day with a club in Christchurch, and my uncle was taking me there, and I always enjoyed boxing. I don't know if that's got anything to do with what we're talking about at the moment, but I suppose I just like punching people, Dave.
But what I want to really do is take you back a bit before we got to the 93 final. I can always remember a game at Watersheddings, which was Steve Martin lot coach. And what was your opinion about Steve Martin, by the way, before I move on?
He was different. Yeah, he was very different. He was disciplined. He had his own ways, but he was nothing like Peter Fox. You know, I know Peter Fox has got his backers and hasn't got his backers, you know. But to me, he was an awesome coach, Peter Fox.
Yeah, I fully agree with. And the reason I want to talk about with Steve Martin is because let's take you back to Watersheddings. It's commonly known as Battle at Watersheddings because of the big mass brawl, and our roads running on and off with messages, and it was a new thing then that come from Australia. Take a message on, tell Brendon not to knock on. Why did you tell me to F off once or twice?
I don't know, Dave. I was pissed off.
Yeah, but what happened is, it's pretty common knowledge that the bloke got up and just wanted to play the ball, so he hit him and broke his jaw, and they caused a mass brawl. And a mate was involved in that played for Oldham. Tiny Solomon. Had you played with Tiny before, or did you know him from New Zealand?
Yeah, I played a couple of tests with Tiny. A very big boy and very strong and a really good bloke. But I think Francis Maloney got a good one from behind onto the Solomona, which helped me out quite a bit.
I can always remember what happened is brawl dispersed, and you obviously got sent off. Tiny got marched as well, and at Watersheddings you used to have to walk down this 200 stands and then 100 yards behind stands to sheds to get changed. And after 5 minutes, Steve Martin sent a message down. He says, "Tell Digby to go and sort Tiny Solomon out, stop them fighting. If they're fighting, it changes." I thought, cheers, biggest bloke in Rugby League, you know. But I thought, go on. So I went up and can you explain to me why you and Tiny drank cold beer?
Well, we both walked back through the crowds, and that wasn't pleasant, but that's just the way it is, I suppose. But we got back in the changing rooms, and we had 2 slabs of alcohol on the...
Stone's bitter.
Yeah, Stone's bitter, was it?
Yeah.
And Tiny was sitting in the change rooms with Old, and I was sitting there at Featherstone by myself. No one else in there. I thought, right, stuff this, I'm going to have a beer with Tiny. And so we did, and by the end of the game, we weren't too well. So...
You were arseholes.
Yeah. And I got 12 weeks for that, I think.
Yeah,
It was great.
12 weeks of suspension. You didn't get no for beer, mind the way. What I want to mention is the culture war: train hard, play hard, but play hard as well. And I think that bonded people really. And I can always remember, and I'm sorry if you've heard this one before, but I can always remember that you got suspended. Steve Martin came to me, and he was professional, to be fair to him, and I was part-time, and everybody was part-time, apart from all lucky people. And he said to me, right, he says, and you wouldn't know we were star players. I'm not being disrespectful to you, Chris Bibbs, and who are all great players, and Martin Pearsons and people like that, but you were classed as star players because of ability and lead your set pair of you. And he said to me, he got me in change room sheds by myself, and said to me, listen, he says, and I'm not used, I can't talk Australian, I can't even talk English, and he just said to me, listen, I want you now hammering for 12 weeks. He says, I want you to break him. He says, break him every couple of days. And he said to me, are you on for it? So, and what we did then, for you, what people don't understand, is if you didn't play on Saturday, you were conditioning coach on touchlines, so all other players could say, I'm going to play hard, or else I'm going to get that on Saturday morning. And so I used to bash people on Saturday, now we're told to bash him extra. So we raised to box, wrestle, weights. So we're meeting twice a day at Big John's Gym in Featherstone and doing that. Unfortunately, first Saturday, wheels came off. Because we came uptown Friday, didn't we? And I tried to bet this bloke after he'd had 3 pints. And I couldn't break him, and I tried on numerous occasions. I'm not just saying it because he's sat here, but I've been able. I'm a big believer in sports science. It's got a part to play, but I'm also a believer that people should be taken dark beyond the limits, because that's what happens in a game. If you get 4 or 5 sets of 6 on against you, you've got to go dark sometimes, and that's mental toughness. And I tried to break this guy, and I think you need to know this, and I couldn't break him. When he had a belly full of beer, he'd thrown up. I tried to break him up touchlines. He was hitting bags, hitting shields, sprinting, off-floor drills. We were doing all kinds of stuff, and I couldn't break him. And Steve Martin's looking across, and as he walked off, I'm not saying what he called me, but he managed to drag his son off field, we all get in the shower, and he got us injured with, and he said, I can't use word, he said, it begins with C, and he give all 3 of us it, but that's what rugby league was in them days. Can I ask you where you think that mental toughness came from? Pontefract. Believe me, mate.
Well, I'm probably pretty weak at mental toughness, Dave, tell you the truth. But back in those days, I always found that if you train hard, and I like a few beers like everyone else, and I think everyone seemed to know that, but I think if you put into the game what you want to put in, you'll get out of it, you know what I mean? And it's certainly I don't own the game anything, and it doesn't own me anything, but you put in what you get out, so that's what you got to do, mate, and that's all there is to it, really.
Yeah, you moved on, you went to Cass, and what were your career like at Cass? What did you think about that?
I enjoyed my first year at Cass, but obviously it was a move that I didn't anticipate on making, because as far as I was concerned I wanted to stay at Featherstone, but as things turned out I had to go. So I did. My first year was good. I enjoyed my first year. Second year was not that flash. I ended up, Stuart Raper ended up, who was coaching there at the time after John Joyner. He ended up dropping me, and they didn't require my services for the next year. So I was planning on going home and calling it quits. And Darryl Vanderbilt gave me a call, and I ended up signing for Warrington for 1 year. And after that, I thought, well, that's it. I've had it. I've had enough. I was breaking down, and I couldn't train. All I was doing was playing game day, you know. So and to me, I wasn't doing the game any justice. It wasn't doing me any justice, and I wasn't doing the fans any justice. So I called it quits. But then I got a call from Featherstone.
Came back and stitched us up for a year.
Yeah. Come back and rock just for another year.
Yeah, moving on, you did, and I understand that Rugby League's moved on, and I mean, what do you think? I've got my opinion. A lot of people try and judge current players against ex-elite players, and your elite players now and elite players then, and they always come up with, well, they won't be big enough and fit enough. What's your opinion on that?
Oh, gee, the game's changed, and that's pretty much number one, really. It's obviously a lot cleaner now, and none of the stiff arms or a few punches are going in or stuff like that, because obviously the boys can't afford to be sent off, you know. But back in the day, I don't think I'd like to be playing in this era at the moment, because I wouldn't survive.
This is hard, because I don't want to ask you. I'm never going to ask you who's the best player you've played with, because it's not fair to your other teammates who you've played, because everybody's got different strengths and weaknesses. But who's the best player you've ever played against, and who's the best player you've ever played with away from Featherstone?
Well, probably the player that I didn't fear the most, but had a lot of respect. I had a lot of respect for all the players, but would have been Mark Geyer. Definitely a hard man back in the day, and a good bloke. And he just loved dishing out the shirt, and he did it with style and did it with finesse, you know. So
yeah, everybody saw it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So, mate, he would have been one of the hardest players I would have played against. But I give respect to all the players that play rugby league.
And skillful? Very
skillful. He would have been skillful, but well, he was skillful. Ellie Hanley one of my favourites as well, you know. Yeah. For me, he would have been top of the tree.
Yeah. Moving on from Rugby League, you went back to New Zealand, your local town. Can you tell us a bit about that and how earthquakes affected you?
My local town is called Kaipoi, which is just out of Christchurch in North Canterbury, and we had an earthquake. I think it might have been 2010, and another one in 2011, which absolutely stuffed the place. Wrecked a lot of people's homes, wrecked a lot of businesses, and that's where I've got a good friend down there, Steve Basley, one of my old bosses before I started playing league. Took me on. I was a bit of a rat back in the day, and Steve seemed to settle me down a wee bit and took me on as apprentice painter and decorator. So that was my trade before I started playing league. And when the earthquakes happened, it was gold. Yeah, it was really good, and was good for the tradespeople and stuff like that. But a lot of people, it just wrecked a lot of homes and wrecked a lot of families, and it's still going on now. Obviously, we all know how trying to get money out of government and our insurance companies and a lot of people are still out of their houses, and this is 5 years later, you know. So it's not that flash. I've come over here with my mate Steve, and Steve's daughter's taken out one of the players and that with Anthony Tupou in Wayfield, and they've come over from the NRL. So I'm staying with them, and I'm very fortunate to do that for the next couple more weeks. So I'm very grateful for that. And life's going pretty good, Dave. You know, we're just cruising along. Keep an eye on Featherstone now and again on Facebook and stuff like that, and see how they're getting on. But I like to say that in the earthquakes, a lot of people did get made homeless. 5 years later, people are still going to toilets and portaloos and stuff like that through no fault of their own. So tonight with Dino inviting me along, and you inviting me along to such a good cause and that we're doing at the moment, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what do you think of your reception when you came back to Featherstone? Were you a bit shell-shocked?
Well, I didn't really know. I didn't know if I was going to get handcuffed at the airport or what the story was, but I might get handcuffed going back out, so I don't really know yet. Like I'm saying, I'm just humble. I'm humble for how the Featherstone people took me in. You know, it's unbelievable. We get 4,000 or 5,000 people to a game back when I was playing, maybe, and just the noise, the atmosphere, it's just something that you'd never ever experience in the UK or even in Australia with NRL. It's unbelievable. I just can't believe how you support your teams and that, and that's why I'm so humble that I did play with Featherstone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we a question for crowd got to answer to themselves, or people in the room got to answer to themselves. Brendon Tuuta, man or beast? Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you. But hey, at the end of the day, I did love playing for Featherstone, and I've enjoyed it. I've been away for 16 years out of the UK, and I've come back here, and I am so privileged to say thank you for all your support that you've given me over the years. I did not want to go back to NRL and play footy, and I loved my time at Featherstone, and I enjoyed every single minute of it in Featherstone and in Ponty. So thank you very much.